So hello everyone, welcome back. And we are ready to actually run our node and start doing fun stuff with it. And for that, we're going to move to this section of the course where it's running the node and connecting to a network. And the first network that we are going to connect to is the preview testnet. We have preview testnet, we have pre-production testnet, and then we have mainnet. Preview is perhaps the testnet that we want to use at the moment. So for that, let me just create a preview directory here so that I can start creating everything here, all the things that we will need. And the first thing that we will need is configuration files. And we will later have a section in the course where we will discuss configuration files in depth. But for now, let's say that configuration files are very important because it will tell the node how to behave, who to connect to, and it will contain in the set of what we call the configuration files. We include also the Genesis files for the eras that actually need a Genesis file, like Byron, Shelley, Alonso. And well, those are important because those introduce new parameters and new sets for those parameters. So basically, this is what we are referring to. And you can always come to bookworlddev cardano.org environments, and there you will find all the available environments that you have at your reach. So right now, as we said, we are going to connect to preview testnet. So this testnet is a testing release candidates and mainnet releases, leads mainnet hard fork by at least 4 weeks. Ideally, it stays long running only if an issue is found after it forks that's breaking should it be respawned. So this is a testnet that is like at the tip of the development. So it is very interesting testnet to try things out. And it is a good environment for us to start getting familiar with Cardano. So let's move on and try to get those configuration files. Of course, they are listed here. We will need the node configuration file. We will need the node topology file. We will need Byron, Shelley, and Alonso Genesis. And if you click on this, you will find the config.json here. But here in our guide, in our handbook, we have all of them linked here so that it is easier for you to just download everything. So I'm gonna download all those files. And there you go, we have the 5 configuration files that we will be using. And since we have Cardano node in our path, we should be able to actually run it. We don't need anything else at this moment just to run a node here. The command that we will use to actually run the command is Cardano node run. Let me just give you the help for this. And it can take several options, but we at this moment are gonna limit ourselves in what we do. Some of these options are in particular for running a block producing node. In this case, we are not running a stake pool. We just want a passive node or a node that just can sync the chain but cannot actually produce blocks itself. So we will just start this node in a very conservative way, let's say. So this is the command that we're going to use. Cardano node run. We're going to indicate the topology that we're going to use, and the topology that we're going to use is exactly the one that we just downloaded. And for you to look at, it is like this. What it tells us is that it will connect to preview node to this DNS, and it will contact at port 3002. And of course, this will resolve to a IP address, and we will connect to it. So this is what we're going to use right now, as it comes by default for this testnet. Then we need to specify a database path. So we will, when running the node, we will have our own copy of the blockchain. And this copy of the blockchain will be stored in this directory, the database directory. We could put it whatever we wanted in our system. I'm going to put it just right here under preview. We need to specify the socket path. So when our node starts running, it will create a socket, and we need to tell the system where this socket needs to be placed. So again, it will be in this very directory. We need to tell the port that we want to use, and it is port 3001. And finally, we are going to say the configuration file that we are going to use. And again, it is the one that we just downloaded, which is this one. We will later talk about the configuration file and how we can tweak it and how we can make use of it. But for now, let's just use the defaults. So one thing that we can do is just copy this thing here. And when we press enter, the node will start, and it will start synchronizing the chain. It will be bootstrapping. It has started requesting blocks to the IHG relay, which it is connected to, and it will start getting those blocks and validating them locally. So right now we started at slot 0, as you can see here. So this is how we start our node. And we can actually use the Cardano CLI to start interacting with our node. And for that, we first need to create this Cardano node socket path environment variable. And we could, for example, I have this, because this is running, the node is running over there. I have this other terminal here running. And let me just do some export Cardano node socket path. And the socket path, it has home preview node socket, which actually, let me just see the preview. When the node starts running, it creates the socket. This is where we specified it was going to be. So now we just need to create the environment variable to point to that path. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. And there you go. So now with that, we can start using the Cardano CLI to query our node. And the first query that we may want to do is just the most basic one. Query the tip. Where is the tip of our local chain right now? Cardano CLI query tip -- and there's this parameter or this option that we want to use, this flag. It is testnet magic. The testnet magic is a option that tells us to which network we are willing to talk to. And in particular, the preview testnet uses the testnet magic 2. Preproduction uses testnet magic 1, and Mainnet uses a different option, which is just Mainnet. In this case, we're going to use testnet magic 2. And voila. We know that the current tip, this slot where the last one that we just synced, is block 59,805. At this moment, it's in impact 15. Error damage. Slot is the current tip of our local chain. And the sync progress with respect to the tip of the network is that we are 11%. So we need to have a lot to process still. So let me just do some magic here. I'm going to stop my node here because I want to remove the database. Because I think I have here, see the CP, copy DB preview, DB into preview DB. I had already synced preview before, So I have a database that is already like closer to the tip of the chain. So let me just copy it there. Sorry, it is recursive, so that everything is copied. And now we can do a cd preview again. And we have back our database folder there. So now we can run this command again to run our node. So we are back synchronizing, but this time, because I have copied this database that was already in sync, now I am closer to the tip of the chain and I am at 99%. Of course, if this is the first time that you are synchronizing the chain, you will need to wait, but preview is not that heavy, so roughly it will take probably 20-25 minutes to get to the tip of the chain from Genesis, so it's not that bad, probably even less. So this is it. This is how we run our node on preview. And there are a few things that we can start doing from here, like for example, what about if we're going to start running the node from time to time? It is a good idea perhaps to have a script that will help us start it and start our node so that we don't have to actually type up the command or come here and copy it. So basically what I want to do here is I'm inside preview. I'm going to create actually I already have a script that I usually use, which is start node sh. Let me just copy this start node and let me copy it into preview. And we will inspect it in a minute to see how it looks like. Let me get that to preview and nano start node sh. So now we have this script. It's a bash script that will run Cardano node topology, just exactly the same thing that we just used, but I am just adding something that in the end will be very useful, in particular when we run mainnet nodes, and in particular when we have a stake pool, for example. We want to start using RTS flags. RTS flags are a runtime system for Haskell. I mean, this means that we have some control of some additional control of how the program behaves. So you can investigate what are the RTS flags just by RTS Haskell by Googling runtime system options for Haskell, and you will see here all the potential flags or options that you have at your disposal. For now, these particular options are working very nice, so I'm not gonna use anything else. If you want, you can feel free to use them as well, but of course RTS is not part of this course, but you can go and investigate on your own how RTS flags work and what they are for, what all the other options that you have at your disposal. So, but for now, let me just use this. And of course, I want to chmod +x, give it executable permissions, and start node sh. So now it is executable. So now I can, for example, Control-C and use, instead of the command, I can just run my script. And everything is fine. Of course, later on, when we run a stake pool, we will be running the node in the background. We will probably not have it here because what if we close the terminal? The node would stop running, and that's perhaps not ideal. But for now, it is fine to have the node running here before our eyes, so that we can start to get familiar with how it looks like, what it does. Right now we are seeing all the logging about what the node is doing, all the information about what the node is doing, and it is somehow useful for us to start getting familiar with what it does and how it reports what it is doing. So this is like how we connect to Preview, but of course we may want to visit also, for example, let me just stop this for a minute. Let me just get back here, and I have CD Mainnet. I have this Mainnet node already here. So for Mainnet, again, we could go to the Cardano Worldbook, and we have here among the environments, we have the production or mainnet. And again, this is the live production. This is where real ADA lives. And we have the configuration file again. We have the topology file. Note that mainnet is still using the classic topology, while on Preview we have P2P topology. We will talk later about it. And we have Byron, Shelley, and Alonso Genesis files. So we can download them using, again, this. I already have them. Here. Alonso Genesis config file. Let me just RAM this. And I have already copied my start node script here. Just I'm gonna tweak it a little bit because usually I have a single directory where I put my node socket, and this time it will be putting the socket in a different place. So I want to nano start node sh. Let me just, so that it looks more like what we have done before. Let me just make it this way. So if I do run the command, the script, sorry, this time I will be connecting to mainnet. And what I should do here is cd mainnet, and perhaps this time what I want to do is to export again the node socket path to the mainnet folder above, to the mainnet directory where we have the node socket. Just note that the node socket is only created when the node has completed the initialization process. And at this moment, it is starting to opening the ledger database. It may take some minutes to open the ledger database, so just be patient. We will just wait. Once it is completed the initialization process, our node socket will be there and we will be able to start querying our mainnet node here. So just a minute or two before it completes initialization. Again, this mainnet node has been in sync probably last week or something like that, so it will be closer to the chain, to the tip of the chain. If you are just starting to synchronize mainnet, it may take somewhere around 24 hours, something like that. It really depends on many factors, but I think last time it took me around 24 hours to synchronize mainnet from Genesis. So there we go. We are starting to grow our chain. This piece of log is really nice. This is really the kind of thing that you are looking for. Chain extended new tip. That means that you are getting new blocks from the upstream peers. In this case, again, it is a IOG relay, IOG relay node or a Cardano node that is just transmitting. It's feeding your node with the blocks that you are asking for. So if we come here to our terminal here, let me just clear, I can do Cardano CLI query tip. In this case, because we are talking to a mainnet node, we are going to say query tip mainnet instead of testnet magic. And there we go. We are currently in epoch 395. This is the slot number, and the synchronization progress is 99.33%. That means that I was in sync probably last week, something like that. So it will take some minutes to reach to the tip of the chain, but it will eventually get there. Of course, getting to the tip of the chain from Genesis may take several hours, so just be patient. But yes, this is it. Congratulations. We have learned how to start running our node and how to connect to different environments. And I have homework for you. Can you connect to pre-production testnet? Come on, try it. And this is, of course, from the knowledge that you have acquired. There is no guide for it. You just have to figure it out yourself. So this is it for now. And in the next video, we are going to start using Cardano CLI to do some more stuff with the blockchain. And the things that we are going to do is, first, we're going to create our first key pair and our address, and we are going to get some funds to our address. We're going to request funds from the faucet, and it will be interesting, hopefully. So see you there. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.